Dudes, dudettes, we are here once again. This is going to be the third in a series of 5 individual pieces of art done in different mediums. I am Steve Rue the Dude, and you're not. One of the benefits that you've seen here, as the screen opened is the ability to attract attractive girls. Now this only comes about if you're a comic book artist. Anyone else will never get these perks. But if you happen to be the dude, it even is a greater advantage to attract Playboy playmates. So now that that's out of the way, you have my secret, even though we have no women in our audience. I'll never understand that. Today, besides punishing our palette with Permablah, my beloved Permablah. Everyone uses Permablah. And the tea that will help me, my throat sound normal. The third part of this series going on today is we're trying to raise money for our How to Draw the Steve Rude book, is an oil painting of something from, she probably did this a few days before I was born, which is 1890, yeah. So this painting is from, let's give credit where it's due. This is Laura Knight. I'm sure she was knighted at some point, thus her name. I wonder what you call a girl that's knighted. I mean, you can't call her Sir like Sir Paul. How about just Madam? Anyway, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this nice big fat brush right here, the number 8, Hog Bristle Filbert, and we're going to start blocking in. By the way, this is a linear blocking right here, and it's working just fine. So I'm just randomly going to hold it like this right here. It needs a little bit more orange, and so this would be like a cad yellow right here. Do we have a cad yellow? No, we don't. So we're going to invent one. A little bit of white Permablah and a little bit of yellow, and we should have something that's going to resemble, at some point, a living, breathing bunch of little kids on a beach. Everyone knows how fond I am of little keys. This is a whole different experience from the acrylic painting that I just got done doing. Normally, I have a great time with acrylic, but last hour, I was working on a Frazetta copy, and it kind of eluded me. Do I understand why that is? No. I don't. I don't understand why it did that. Sometimes these things. I think the worst assumption you can make with art is it's supposed to make sense from day to day. It does not. You can wake up the next day after having the best day of your life, and you're wondering, what was that all about? Flowhart is over there trying to get camera time, but we're not going to let her because she has to pay for the privilege. These shadows down here are purplish, and this is here's a big shadow right here. Is that of the little kid? Yes, it is. Let's put in those shadows. We want some kind of a purplish thing going on here. Not true purple, just purplish. And we don't want it quite that dark, so we're just going to add some white in there. You know, this whole thing about black is so asinine. Look at it like this. The people that have a real problem with black, ask them if you could paint a painting without white. That should settle it pretty fast. to the naysayers and the ne'er-do-wells. And we need a little more, I think, blue in there, or even some green if you want to get really out there, which I do. I have no problem getting out there. Speaking of out there, that's actually a strip that we have in the back of Nexus, Out There, starring Coffee and the Dude. That would be me, I guess. So we've got our, if you can see the palette here, you can see what I'm trying to go for. Oh, the blowhards are barking out there. Those knuckleheads. Oil paint has the distinct advantage of a lot of things. Obviously, number one is the malleability of the blending process. This little keyed. Now look at how simple the blocking is going to be. It's just going to be an oval, really. That's all it's going to be. To go any farther than this, I would say that you're probably looking at someone who's not trained right. Because someone who's not trained right would be doing that, something like that. One of the art teachers that I mentioned that really helped me out early on, he would tell this story to us all about when he was in his student days, and he would come home to his family and his wife and say, "Well, that's it, I got it down." And he would go back the next day to his studio thinking, "What was that all about?" We all laughed, appropriately, of course. Because we all know what that's like, that's why. You know, there's this thing they keep talking about with artists from my school of thought, the Sargent, Zorn, Soroya school, and that is, you'll hear this a lot, is if you haven't heard it already, which is, oh, sorry, we need more permablah here. There's some light on the arm. Actually, what I should be doing here is what I thought I just did, which is this. This is where you scrape the paint away so you can get a clean stroke, which is a big deal. And then you can work it later on with... And that is one of the problems of this kind of paint, too. There's always a duality to advantages in paint. Oil, you can blend it because it dries slow, and it drives you nuts because it does drive slow. So don't think you're all alone when it comes to these conditions. You are not alone. I think that's a song, wasn't it? But right now, I'm super feeling this, thank God, as opposed to the acrylic nonsense that was kind of ruining my life. Let's see, how do we mix in some more stuff to get just the right color of the legs here? That's a little dark. So here comes the permablah. There you go. Permablah seemed to be the right touch to order here. Now you can never ignore anatomy. You have to look when you're doing a copy like this. You have to remember what the artist was looking at when he did this, and he was looking at a little kid who had her leg in a certain position, and especially in sunlight, there is a change of plane, which means a change of color of some kind. When something goes from one direction to another. You guys got me on that? Okay, good, glad to hear it. So here's the old red knee thing going on here. which is a little too dark, but that's no problem. We aim to fix it, and anything that is messed up, you can fix. It's just that simple. Well, there goes the hound dog. I don't know where she's going. Probably on the floor. That's where she's going. So I'm going to wash this out when I get my lights back in. I'm using the same brush with all this. I just have to, if I'm going to change colors, I just have to really get it clean enough so that I can put a clean stroke of the light color like that. You notice I don't care anything about details at this point. And that's another thing that you guys should be asking me about. When is it appropriate to apply detail? That's too much of that color there. We'll add a little bit of blue into this one here. Maybe that'll do it. And so far, it's a no. First time, every time. So there's obviously something hitting the plane of this leg right here that is making it this bluish type alteration. And that's the great thing. That's the great beauty of outside stuff. Is when you go outside, you're seeing the reality of the world as it is. A world with a sun, in all its different ways of behaving, all that stuff, all that good stuff. The word today is stuff. It's the word for today. So I'm starting to do my little carving thing here of the little key's leg. I call these carving strokes right here. For one thing, it's helping me correct the contours of the what, Steve? Of the I don't know. We're going to an arm, and that's about the right color to it. She's actually lifting part of her the little kid's dress, so she can something to do with getting wet, I think. Which is what little kids want. They all want to get wet. So next time you see a little kid, just say, "Hey, you're all wet." Those are pretty good right there. This one up here is going to be doused in a more of a duller thing, and that's all because of this entity called skin behaving a certain way in the sunlight, which is the most natural kind of light there is. Especially when you go outside and you see the different reflections of different kind of light going on there. The face of this little key is practically, this one right here is practically just one value of reddish kind of a color. Okay, so we need a smaller brush now. I happen to see something that I want to do. Painters don't really work in order. They all have their little ways of working. I think when they're getting trained, they are working in an order. Like this part first, and this part second, all that kind of stuff. There's a little light getting in there to the little kid. Normally, you when you're using light on something, you make it thicker. But don't do it until you're kind of committed to having the form right. Because if the form's wrong, then it doesn't matter what you've got going on to make things look interesting. It's just going to be a false note. And nobody wants a false note. I've never personally wanted to be accused of a false note. So I look at this very, very, very clearly before I dare to delve into it. Okay, this is the right color right here, I think. This is a beautiful gray color. I just love that. How come my acrylic didn't go this easily? Well, there's still time to screw it up. Plenty of time. She's got some kind of a, you know, one of those deals going on. The puffy sleeve thing. But you see how that works? These two strokes are similar, this one and this one, so I wanted to do something to offset that. I wipe everything off on my paper towel. I put it in the turpentine to get it clean, the so-called odorless turpentine, which is anything but. And then I put it in Gamsol, which is a cleaner kind of a solvent, a less harmful one to the bunnies and the animals out there. And I proceed from there. Well, let's make this a little lighter right here. Yeah, we need, it actually is much lighter than that. If it's in the sun, it needs to be much, much lighter. And I thought I was being so accurate. Nope, not even close, Remo. Much lighter. Much superior. Is that right? Is that kind of getting close? You know, you almost have to pump it with white to get where you want to be here. Is that properly pumped? You guys can let me know. You're my eyes, ears, and my paycheck. I had a teacher that was just a wonderful teacher from the Art Students League in New York, and my first class with him, I was trying to do this sunbloom thing where I kind of like swish, swish, and he says, "Steve, try to slow down a little bit and do proper light, halftone, and shadow." And I did, and it worked great. But now I'm at that point where I'm kind of just going back to what's natural, and what's natural for me is kind of doing those swish swish kind of things. Because if it's something I do now after all these years, it's got to be a semi natural thing for me to do. But he was right to back me up a little bit. When you're trying to get a really light color, and any color you've got down there so far is going to mix with whatever is underneath it, even if it's a lighter color. So you want to really wash your brush out good. Let's put some of this yellow in here. Mr. Shelley's favorite color, yellow. I'm just kind of putting it in there where I think it goes. So oil paint is doing what it always does. It's mixing with the tones below it. So you can either do one or two things. You can either scrape it out and get a cleaner stroke that's not being infused with other colors, which is what I recommend. See, there's nothing there to contaminate the paint with a different color. So you're doing something good here. Now from there, now that I've got to clean this and that, let's see. Boy, she's got this lady is really good, by the way. I totally endorse what she does. I'm hesitant to say that because I don't want to awake her and have her demanding royalties off this thing. However, she is very, very good. She knows exactly what she's doing. And thus, the reason for the dude, Mr. Humility, to be painting from one of her pictures. There's going to be Mr. Humility coffee cups coming out real soon. I want you to know about that, so you can order soon and not be disappointed when they sell out. I think we got a few more alternative cups coming. One is the Dude Rules, and the second is the Dude Drools. So you decide which one you want, and Gino Ginelli and Mr. Producer here will take care of your order promptly. Promise. See, the only people over 20 know that one. Make it 40. That's okay. The dude does not cater to the youngsters out there. He just simply does it and hopes for the best. Okay, so in this head right there, now that I'm doing this and getting carried away, when I probably shouldn't be, this head has some very subtle little things in there. Remember, the word of the day is things. I have to get these contours right to get the little keyed, looking like a proper keyed. Look at this tiny right there. You crazy keyed. So it's very, very subtle. The little shifts in stuff during this time period. And she's got a little bit of a underplane of blue in there. And if we want to get really technical, which is I don't advise, you can put the little eye in there and act like you really know what you're doing, which of course the dude does, and thus the coffee cups. The dude knows what he's doing, and if you want to be like the dude, pay up. Oh, the little keyed has her bonnet there. And this is really cool color stuff right here from Outdoors. Oh, this is good stuff. I hardly endorse this as being very good stuff. Now we're going to cut the little keyed's head off. We don't want to do that. The mothers are going to get mad. But that's the problem with just doing a close-up of what we're doing here. All right, so we got our, thank God we have our permablah ready here, because there's going to be a gigantic blob of permablah coming up. Here it is. You ready? Permablah. Don't leave home without it. And there is the weirdest kind of, just the subtlest kind of yellow going on next to the permablah, and that'll be the sand color. A little bit of orange, a little bit of yellow, very, very light kind of thing going on here. Of the little keyeds, okay, here contours a little. I really have to see. This is a carving stroke. I'm always talking about carving strokes, aren't I? Yes, I am. This is a carving stroke where I carve out the planes of the side of the face here. And if my brush will cooperate, I might be able to actually get the nose in there, because as we all know, the nose knows. We're removing staff and having fun. So we're kind of getting there. There's so many little subtle things. Look, I mean, there's an underplane of the nose. There's more of that yellow going on down here. I mean, obviously, you guys, being experts, can see all this stuff. And I believe we have some questions coming in from Playboy Playmates, which I don't believe. I personally don't believe that, but that's what I've been told. We're going to actually get a surprise call from some of the girls that flock around the dude studio at all times, and who could blame them? So that's kind of like going okay with that. This headband here. See, I know what girls do. That's always helpful, and I actually know how they work too, because I live with girls. Most of them are animals, but aren't they all? Oh, and don't forget my tea here, my throat clearing tea. Have you noticed my tea? My throat is totally overturned itself into a proper speaking vehicle. Of course you have. Okay, this is throat clearing tea. Amazing that they would actually have a tea that is for throat clearing. But in fact, that's exactly what I needed. My throat cleared. Amazing what they have nowadays. Is this going to be too dark? Just a hair. Just a hair. See, look, people, this is what it's all about right here. If you're an artist, this is what you're going to be spending your lifetime doing, is this and that and everything in between. For guys that want to follow my path in life, the idea of just doing comics is very constricting. I wanted to be able to do everything. And to do everything, you had to be classified, as I called it, an illustrator. Because illustrators could do everything, as I've mentioned many times in the past. My great heroes were all illustrators. Rockwell, Harry, Ganem, all these wonderful guys that I will never be better than, but I just look at as my guiding lights, which I think is a very healthy way to look at it. Okay, so let's get a bigger brush, naturally. Here's another 8. Okay, let's just grab the other 8 that I was using before, this big orange one here. And what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to put this blue on here, this very subtle blue. I might add a little bit of orange to it to kind of subdue it. Oh, this is actually kind of a purple color, so let's add some alizarin crimson into our permablah. Let's see if that looks like that's a little too much, so you modify it. Have any Playboy Playmates bothered? No. Okay. I tell you, it's a tough world. I'm just pissed that I don't have any females in my audience. It's just a bunch of guys. Now, how is that? I mean, do you guys want to explain that to me? If we had girls in the audience, they could explain it to me, but there are no girls. Now, why is that? You think about a guy who's classically trained, who doesn't draw women in this ridiculous, overblown way that most comic book artists do it. You'd think I have 1 or 2. I might have 1. I've never met her. But yeah, it's really bugged me over the years. Really pissed me off. Because it doesn't make sense. Some people are okay with things that don't make sense. I don't happen to be one of them. Okay, so this is a very, very light yellow. Maybe if I started drawing ugly, then I would get a female audience. I mean, obviously doing the way I'm doing it now does not compute with most of them. I never have girls coming up to my table, and believe me, it pisses me off. They go for the sleaze buckets. People that are nothing like me, Boy Scout, trailblazer, mountain climber, and test pilot. You'd think, but no. It just doesn't make any sense. But I was told by somebody that life isn't supposed to make sense. Well, that's nice to know. I'm living in a world that makes no sense. And judging by the people that I've known over the years, they would be there to certainly confirm that, because they are very strange people. Okay, let's change the towel here. I said change the towel. Okay, so we've changed the towel, and you can see how I'm just kind of casually going this way and that way to make sense of what I'm trying to do here, which is paint a picture one section at a time. Now there's a smarter way to do this, which I am not doing, and that happens to be the way I'm not doing it. That would be to block in everything in a local color. Get that out of the way, and then we would be in a position to be in a position. There's a lot of guys that like to actually mix the colors on the, they'll put a white down and a blue down. That's not my thing. It's someone else's thing, but it does not belong to the humble dude. Boy, there's a lot of white going on here. And there's a lot of blue going on here. Are we getting any calls in at all?
No.
Boy, I tell you.
Having technical issues.
Oh.
So they're having trouble seeing that on their end. So we're gonna have a full video available.
Oh, great. So I'm doing all this work so people can't see it. Is that what you're telling me, producer?
No.
It's not what you're telling me. They can see it?
Everything is here. Everything's good on our end. So we're gonna have it available.
Well, woman, the question I'm asking is, can they see it as I'm doing it right now? No. Okay, that's what I thought. So you just gave me an opposite answer right there.
They'll be able to see it after the stream.
Whoa. I tell you, people, it's a tough life. So you can't see what I'm doing right now. You're going to have to wait. You think I endorse that? No. I sure spit did not.
It's not up to us.
It's not up to us?
The internet.
Oh, the internet, huh? Well, I'm happy to blame anything that's electronic these days because it doesn't make any sense.
It's basically what it is.
Huh?
It's basically what it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Internet.
Okay, well, at least I'm right about that, which is hardly a shock to me. Let's get the darks in here, the really, really cool darks. Things really learn to stand out when you put the darks in. Get 'em, get the little keys. That's actually my mantra. If you're around anywhere near a little keyed, you're obligated to say, get the little keyed. And that comes from Flowhard, or Crap Ram, actually. Ram was my first Beagle. And here and I would be sitting around when I was in my ute. And the little kids would come pull it up in the school bus. And Ram would run out and start barking at them. And I would just encourage her by saying, get the little keys. Now there has to be some light in there. I just know there's going to be light in there. Let's add some more white. And maybe that's going to be the proper color. I think we're doing okay there. We're actually in the ballpark. And there has to be very subtle indications of form in there. Now that's too light. That's actually too light. They are so close in value that you almost can't even see them. But they are there. And that's a very difficult thing to do with any kind of paint, is get a value so low and so close that it just barely registers. But we endeavor to try. Is that right, Hound Dog? I just heard Hound Dog sign off or sound off there. Hound. She's dreaming about bunnies. Let's not interrupt her. What about the other ones? Are we going to be able to show the other ones that I'm doing here? This is only number 3.
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Pay is being docked for at least 2 weeks due to this egregious shortcoming. Probably mine too. Okay, so I added a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I actually have a favorite quote from Fiddler on the Roof. Fiddler on the Roof is actually much more profound than people realize it is. But I think only the smartest people on earth are able to pick it up. One of them would be me. And the line is, you ready? I swear I'm the only one that knows this. But like I said, smarter than the average intellectual. These guys are leaving their village. They're being forced out by the troglodytes, or the Hessians, or whatever, the mean guys, the mean Russians. And one of them says to the rabbi, we're supposed to have a second coming of the Savior. Wouldn't now be a good time to have him show up? The pastor thinks for a second and says, yeah, it would, but in the meantime, keep walking. There's no charge for that. Most people will charge you for information like that, but I'm not anybody. A little bit of thing in there. There. Okay. This happens to be going very well. I'm a little embarrassed by that. It should be much harder, and I should be struggling like I did on the acrylic painting, but it's simply not to be. So, and this is the way it works, people. On again, off again. One day you wake up, I got it down. I'm a genius. I'll never go back to not knowing again. And an hour from now, you find out that you kind of do. We need to mix up more of this orange color here with plenty of permablah. So let's see if this is the right color. Oh, that's the perfect color. By God, Steve, you're just really moving along here. Not a single playmate. I'm disgusted. And I'm pissed. But the dude is not one to understand the way the world works. He simply does not understand it. It's not only confusing and baffling, but it's completely unfair. And I'm a big believer in unfairness. So thus, you hear that from me a lot. The other thing that really pisses me off, as long as we're in the subject, is I've been working on my my cartoon show, trying to bring unity to the world, and so in need of it. And so far, in all the world, in the entire globe, nobody has had the whatever it takes to call me up, give me $1 billion, because it's like $1 million an episode for this stuff, and tell me, okay, green light, let's go. Now, what sense does that make? How many people are there in the world anyway? A lot more that's in this tube of permablah. And yet, I sit here still working on it, having a good time, and there's no takers. This still needs to be lighter. So we got to force some permablah into that. We are also offering, the dude endorses permablah coffee cups, along with the other ones which were mentioned a bit ago. Much like this, and it's going to be stocked with throat clearing tea. So right now, this is going the way it's supposed to go, which is fun and easy. Easy and fun. Whichever one you want to put first is fine with me. I don't care. So, Mr. Producer, how are we doing with time here?
I was going to say we have just passed the 40-minute mark.
Holy spit.
It's 2:16, and we go on again at 3.
So I have how long to prep for this year? 0 time, or what?
So,
That's 0 time. Okay, so that's going to be proof of my devotion to the crowd of people that are supposed to be paying me here. Speaking of which, how are we doing with that?
let me look on Kickstarter. Kickstarter, we have 3,300 in pledges. Let me add them up real quick.
Mr. Producer is doing the collating, which will soon be released to the world here. So you will all know what we know. Still using the big number 8 here. That's a pretty big brush, as I've been taught by my superiors. Oh, we got a great red thing going on up here. We have an abacus house out that is currently giving us the information that is so valued to all people that beg for money.
We have raised $7.5 thousand in pledges so far.
Repeat that to the audience, Mr. Producer.
The exact number, $7,556 in pledges.
And oh, this is a good time to bring up something that's been on my mind for a while here. I've already mentioned that to do a cartoon show nowadays costs $1 million an episode. That's based on what The Simpsons was being spent on about 1 billion years ago. It may have gone up since then. In order to get that kind of money, you need somebody with money. I believe these people are called wealthy. So, as long as we're not going to get any girls, any playmates, unless there's a rich playmate out there, which is very unlikely. They never got paid for what they did, for the most part. I just want to ask if there is a billionaire out there, and that you could be the one watching this right now. In fact, I think you are. That's going to rescue the dude from and family from certain poverty. You know who you are. When you've got it, give it. So I'm waiting for the next person to call up. Oh, I love that stroke right there. Hopefully the millionaire did too. We're hoping that we're going to have a person come out of nowhere, like in fairy tales and comic books, and simply say, Steve, I've heard your pleas, and I'm really big on giving you a lot of money for your show, because I believe in your show, and I believe what you say when you say it's going to change the world. Now, wouldn't that be nice? In fact, the Beach Boys sung about that very thing. You all know the song. Okay, let's change this thing over here. This thing. And what are we going to do with this thing? We're going to throw it away into the trash can. Hopefully it'll land in the trash can and not on the filthy carpet where the blowhards do their thing all the time. Mostly because of Flow Hard. Flow Hard is the clear culprit of doing something that she knows better than not to do. But people, you just know how it is. Oh, you know what? We have this wonderful little yellow. But what are we going to do first before we put the yellow down? We're going to carve out this area right here, so we get a clean stroke. Stroke, stroke. And it's going to go something like this. Cue in the theme song. And the sound effects. You see that just got contaminated there. We need to obliterate that. And we need to put a slight other color to separate the little keys dress from the big keyed. See how you can carve out, see that's a carving stroke right there. That's what I call carving strokes. They're the ones that you go into it with, and you you add the little contours by carving out an area, not by painting it, but by carving out. You all know what I mean? That's good. So glad I don't have to explain that. However, for 20 bucks a month, well, I'm supposed to mention that, right? The Patreon guys, when I go on YouTube to learn about Bigfoot and aliens, I've noticed that there's a constant complaint about people, because these are people that are big on complaining, unlike myself. But they're always saying, you know, we have 1,000 followers, but only certain people are giving us money, and we're losing the house. If that's true, boy, we are all in trouble. Oh, that's more of a okay. That's more of a yellow. Oh, you know what? There's a little bit of purple in there. Permablah and yellow. Is that the right color? Sort of, kind of, sort of. Right now, it doesn't really matter. You know, there's a little bit of yellow going on down there. Let's just put that in, because I think it's reflecting from the sand in the bottom, and that's a little bit too dark. How do you know when things are too dark? How do you know when things are just right? There's a wonderful, easy answer to that, and that is a billion years of practice. At least, if not more.
We're keeping up on 50 minutes.
50 minutes? Okay, so tonight on 60 Minutes, you're going to see the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And you're going to see the fact that the dude here has been working on your behalf so that we can all score a coffee mug. Oh, okay, so we got some great, oh, I see. This one wants to give me a hard time, because it's been going a little too easy so far, and that's just not allowed. You can only go so long with it making the craft of painting easy until something else comes in and ruins it. And I believe that is taking place at this very moment here. Swish. See? I'm into that swish thing. That my teacher said, well, don't do that. But the problem is I'm not him. I'm only the humble dude. Okay. A little bit of this and a little bit of that. This is where you can actually experiment with a lot of different colors. Make it a different version of this blue right here. You know, lean it towards the reds, lean it towards the colors next to it. Now you can see this thing has been pasted up right next to the painting here, so I could just do half of the canvas. If this is something that somebody would like to own in their living room that goes with their carpet, you just let me know and I will finish the rest of the painting pronto. That means right away. So we're going to wrap it up here. We're going to wrap it up. There's people in TV always say this is a wrap. Well, this is our wrap coming up here. I mean, it's not like the song I sang earlier this week. This is an honest to God real wrap. A wrapping of events. Swoosh. This painting comes with sound effects. So if there's anything that you're interested in hearing on a loop, then you just let me know. And this is why the thick painting comes in at the end, because you need thick paint to really get through what you've already done. As is true with all little kids and what they try to do. So I'm going to take this big fat brush here and just kind of add a few things. Oh, and she's got her hair going on there. Now I had my little kid actually walking. This little kid right here is kind of stationary, and we just don't want that, do we? No, we don't. So let's thank our sponsors once again, Permablah, Steve Root Coffee Cups from the Spickle Coffee Company. And if anyone's interested in coming over here and being my assistant, the first thing you can do is wash my brushes and clean my palette. But in the meantime, it's arrivederci time, and ciao, and sayonara. Bye-bye.